Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, my name is Azzuhra Aulia Syifa and I'm from Arabic classes. In this video, I want to talk about online learning and how it's developed over the last 3 years. So basically, online learning is a method of education whereby students learn in a fully virtual environment. First introduced in the 1990s with the creations of the internet and utilized in distance learning, online learning, also called as e-learning, is most prevalent in higher educations, enabling students from different geographical areas to engage with an academic institution and other students online and learn flexibly at their own pace while working towards a degree or certificate. Online learning refers to an internet-based learning environment that can connect students of diverse backgrounds who boast a different perspective. A higher education institutions will use a learning management system or LMS to facilitate online learning, which can take the form of asynchronous learning, where students are not required to be online at the same time and utilize discussion threads and emails to complete the coursework, or synchronous learning where students must be online at the same time. And back in 2019, the COVID-19 pandemic requires almost all human activity to shift to digital media, including education service. Now, education services must adapt to online learning methods, and the change is a challenge for Indonesian educations, which must also prepare students to adapt to face the challenges of the era of Society 5.0. Students have to master the ability of Microsoft Office software and online learning technology. There was no significant difference between teacher and lecturer perspectives regarding the role of learning technology in the classroom and on the educational process of students. The success of online learning was highly dependent on several integrated components such as students, educators, learning resources, and the technology used. There are several disadvantages of online learning, such as students' discipline, lack of internet access, and lack of social interactions. Common challenge for educational organizations and stakeholders. And since the start of the pandemic, the government of Indonesia has taken some timely steps to support learning from home. Among them was adapting e-learning applications of both the Ministry of Education and Culture, or MOE, and the Ministry of Religious Affairs and training teachers to use online learning platforms. However, the biggest obstacle for students learning from home, especially those who are poor and live in remote areas, is lack of internet access and electronic device. According to UNICEF education specialist Nugroho Warman, parents also have to focus on other obligations to support their family, which leaves them with less time to support their children. And in response, the MOE launched an educational TV program called Belajar dari Rumah, or Learning from Home, aimed at children without access to the internet but with access to televisions. The program, which covers preschool and high schools, runs from Monday to Friday, is broadcasted through the state television network TVRI. It also includes additional programs for parents to help assess the effectiveness of belajar dari rumah, UNICEF has been conducting regular surveys among parents, teachers, and children. The surveys are conducted through SMS to be able to reach areas with no internet access. To further mitigate the effects of the pandemic, the government has entered into various strategic partnerships, among them with edtech companies to provide free access to online learning platforms and with telecommunications on free internet quotas for teachers and students. Despite these efforts, however, the structural disparity remains. For many disadvantaged families, the gap is even widening. Some remote areas do not even have electricity, and assisting children with online learning has proven challenging to many parents, especially those of a certain age and educational level. In some poor villages, children are not even learning from home because of the economic tools of the pandemic have forced their former parents to enlist their help in the fields. The COVID-19 pandemic has disrupted education in over 150 countries and affected 1.6 billion students. In response, many countries implemented some form of remote learning. The education response during the early phase of COVID-19 focused on implementing remote learning modalities as an emergency response. These were intended to reach all students but were not always successful. As the pandemic has evolved, so too have education's response. Schools are now partially or fully open in many jurisdictions. And that's all from me. Thank you so much for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.